Magandang gabi sa inyo mga tol. Kami nga pa lang sa ating podcast and welcome na naman for another SFAB for today. And bago natin, magpapakilala muna kami. Ako si Jay.
This is Jai.
And this is Rio. So yan, good evening everyone. So it's Friday. Holiday pa rin ngayon, di ba? Tingin ko holiday pa rin to pag pag-post nito. So ayun, I hope you're doing okay everyone. So if you don't have anything to do, just sit back, relax. I hope you enjoyed our previous episode, yung ating ghost stories, di ba? Japanese ghost stories. Madami pa 'yon, madami pa. So so for now, yung topic ko muna. So my topic, I chose this as a next topic because it's an interesting topic. This is somehow an attempt of a person to communicate, or at least he's claiming that he's communicating with God through his operating system. So, di ba, parang medyo it has a twist on it na it's not all good and it's not all perfect, but it's a sad story. I'll put it right away na. It's a sad story of a programmer. Now, this is a story of Terry A. Davis. So, he was born in December 15, 1969. He's a good programmer. Mataas yung score niya. I think 1440 yung sa SATs niya. I think that's high. When I try to search it, mataas yun eh. I mean, parang
above average.
above average yan. So, he's a good student, parang he's a programmer, computer science graduate. He's good in a way na he retained his employment. I think he was employed in a ticket, I forgot yeah, 1440 pala. So ticket master employee siya for a very long time. I think it's a company in the US. Tapos yung programmer siya doon. So normal na buhay siya. Si Terry is a normal programmer. The interesting story starts when Terry A. Davis was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So, doon na siya
schizophrenia. Okay.
Schizophrenia. Nagkakaroon na siya ng ganun. So, it's sad in a way. I mean, I'll go to the sad parts later, pero in this part of the story, so he has a good employment status, and then eventually he spiral down to unemployment, na parang he can't manage work na. He has to go home. I mean, he has to, really live with his parents kasi nga he has, he cannot live alone eh. And then he doesn't have a job, and then when you don't have a job, you have to look for other ways to have money. And unfortunately, the only way to, for him to get the money is from his parents. So plus disability checks. So yun lang yung regular na niya. So the smart guy that he is, I mean, smart in a way na he's smart in programming. So that's how he retains his sanity through programming. So what he did was he devised an operating system. So yung normal operating system natin ngayon, 'di ba, yung mga Windows, Linux, 'di ba? May mga ganyan, may Mac OS. So we have different operating system, but Terry's operating is different. I mean, it's more on DOS based. So it's not like may click ka and then install mo ganon. So more on typing siya, more on coding. So you cannot basically use it without knowing programming. So this is not really for manufacturing. It's just more of its way of showing what he can do. Parang I can do this, I can may mga graphics ako dito, may mga ganyan ako. The controversial part about this is that first of all, this is not an easy feat. I mean, programming in any way, especially that if you're doing it alone, it's really difficult. Siguro I'll try to post yung mga pictures or screenshot. Pero i-try nyo, search yung Temple OS. Parang yun Temple OS. That's how initially it's a different name eh. So the first name of the program is Temple OS or God OS, and then later in 2004 or around 2005 he changed it to J operating system. So if you can see that, parang white lang siya, di ba? And then there's images.
Sobrang simple.
Sobrang simple. Now it might looks simple, pero this is really difficult to do because this doesn't import anything. Parang sinabi niya, lagi niya pinapagmayabang wala siyang compiler. Parang hard-coded lahat yan. I mean, just think of it this way. Kasi, we're not all familiar with the, programming. Para pag sinabi mo wala kang compiler, ikaw lahat yung kunyari, kotse, di ba? There are some parts ng kotse na ikaw lang yung magbubuo. Parang kukuhanin mo yung isang part na
Parang
ganito.
so everything is from scratch?
Oo,
ganun?
parang ganon. So, everything is from scratch. And then, yun nga, everything's from scratch and then it's his own language. So, siguro, may mga background na tayo. Siguro, pag nag-college tayo, di ba, may C++ and C++. So, meron siyang ginawa na sarili na niyang language ng in-between nung C++ and C++. Ang tawag niya is Holy C. So,
Holy stick.
medyo that's his borderline craziness eh. Craziness in a good way, and he also has his craziness in a bad way. Pero yun nga, he's intelligent in a way, no? So, he streams it na parang he stream it on YouTube. He posts regular updates on different sites like something awful. Something awful, it's like Reddit. So it's some of the programmers use that to share their own, their own thing. And then Reddit, the Hacker News, he posts things, regular updates there. Pero nga, since he has schizophrenia, those postings are different. Sometimes sobrang dami niyang ginagawa. I mean, you have to code something, you have to update it, you have to document it, and he posted it on Reddit, and then wala namang may pakialam technically sa ginagawa niya. So kasi people doesn't know that he has this schizophrenia. Parang inisip lang nila this is a crazy guy who's creating an operating system who looks stupid kasi this doesn't have internet connectivity eh. Wala kang na-import dyan, walang internet yan. Meron lang yan sounds and input ng mouse and then yung keyboard. So it's a very limited. There are news articles na sinasabi nila this is not an operating system technically for people. It's just for practice lang, parang to have fun, ganon, di ba? The crazy part about this is yun nga, si Terry he's claiming na I can talk to God through this. Parang there are some settings na sinasabi niya na Davis mentioned na eto 640 by 480 to, yun yung resolution, and then 16 color display lang siya. He's claiming na these settings was mentioned by God. So this is instruction by God na ganito lang yung settings niya. So may mga ganun siya. And then if you can see the icons, there are some applications na nagra-run describing the verses in the Bible. So merong mga ang hirap niya explain eh. Ang hirap niya ring i-run kasi hindi naman ako naka-Linux. That's only the time that you will run it. So pag
Linux lang.
sa Linux lang siya. So pag nirarun mo siya, may parang you're talking to God, parang may dialogue si God doon. And then you'll ask a question, parang ganito, mag-ask ka ng question, type mo, 'di ba? And then God would answer in a picture. Parang may picture na lalabas, and then you'll have an abstract picture na you have to interpret it. So it's inside the mind of a someone with schizophrenia, which is understandable na hindi na.
Just a question, Rio.
Did
he made these things before he was diagnosed with schizophrenia or after na?
Actually, initially, he made this early in his career, pero hindi niya na, parang passion project niya, na wala siyang oras. So, when it was started with the sane mind, and then when he collapsed to schizophrenia or the illness, dun niya na in-straight na, dun niya na pinasok or dun niya na dinevelop until matapos yon. So, ayun yung niya. I mean, there's a lot of applications nga na medyo weird. And, yung itsura pa lang, it's different. I mean, unfortunately, Terry was subjected to online bullying kasi he's posting a lot of things. He's also medyo, sabihin natin, he's not mentally well, and then he almost all of his streams, because he streams it parang showcase niya, ito yung kayang gawin ng program ko, ito ganito, ganyan ganyan. Tapos meron siyang mga tawag dito, parang mga homophobic slurs, parang the N-word, he always used that,
Okay.
CIA N-word, ganon, parang he's pertaining that he's in prison. So there are some tweets na ito yung mga tweets niya na medyo you'll see that he's collapsing to a different person na. So I think one of the tweets, quote unquote, open quote, I think teeth are the first reminder of mortality. I think that's where it begins to hit you, because they don't come back and that's it. So end quote. So that's one. And ang haba naman ito. ito, medyo mahaba to. Open quote, I live in a kind of old environment. I just go to dentists and doctors. My parents go to dentists and doctors. That's all we do. We watch TV, they go to casino. I've been fighting to bring it to fruition. I'm in some kind of prison or something. So basically now I'm just kinda kill time. But I'm God's high priest, so there's nothing better to do with your time than kill time with Mr. God and enjoy divine intellect all day long. So, medyo siya, he's streaming this and he's tweeting openly about this, and then he's always big deal about CAA na he's being watched, ganun. I think that's common with schizophrenia, di ba? Pagka meron kang lagi kang
paranoid ka na.
Parang laging meron kang conspiracy. I mean, we are, mahilig tayo sa conspiracy, but we don't believe them wholeheartedly, di ba? Pero
yes,
there are these people na talagang they really believe na, ayun nga, na wholeheartedly na merong ano. So, if you would see, or if you would look at the Terry's YouTube channel, it's still up. There's some YouTube videos of him describing na I'm the best programmer alive, paulit-ulit. It's kinda neurotic na talagang mayat-maya sabi niya,
parang siyang batang nagfi-flex, no?
Oo, parang siyang nagfi-flex na paulit-ulit, and something's wrong. These are bits of pieces in information, because it's really difficult to keep track on the timeline ni Terry, because all of his actions is on the internet. And then once a person dies, medyo they take those down, parang ma-archive siya. So I'll try to look back for those documentation.
Ano lang pre, let me just tickle your minds with a question.
Oo.
Does he really did he made these things because he has schizophrenia, or he nangyari yun sa utak niya, that happened to him, that's the schizophrenia or this madness happened to him because of what or who is communicating with him through his program?
I don't know. Siguro nga, no? Baka siguro in the complexity of it, no? Parang doon na siya nagkaroon ng
or maybe,
schizophrenia.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And let's not say it's God. Let's say it's some other entity or some other shit that it's communicating with him that caused him to be like that, di ba?
Pwede. Baka he's a victim. Baka talaga victim siya, no? Hindi talaga siya tawag dito. Hindi talaga nag-start sa kanya yung schizophrenia or ganun.
So I mean, it parang nag-stop yung gears sa utak niya dahil sa pakikipag-communicate siya kung ano mang entity yun. Pero it's quite a long shot, pero yung naisip ko parang let's just tickle our minds. Baka.
It can be, di ba? Parang he's trying to attain something that, you're trying to coordinate or communicate with God through something, that you know. So, ayun, he's subject to bullying online. So, sinabi ko kanina, di ba, parang post siya ng update. Sabi, wala naman kaming paki dun sa ano mo. I mean, most of the time, nababan siya sa mga Reddit, ganun, or sa kasi he's trying to promote it out of context. Parang there's a completely different thread on a different topic, tapos magpo-post siya, parang ganito. So,
parang siya yung mga nagpo-post sa mga comments sa Facebook ngayon, yung biglang may business sa
oo,
mga
parang
comments.
ganun. Tapos mga ano siya. So that kind of setup, mang soup ka dun sa comment section, and then ibang topic pa, and then may kasama pang homophobic slurs, racial slurs. So you gotta think that this person is insane. No one knows by then na he has schizophrenia. Later na lang nung medyo sumisikat na siya.
Hindi ko kasi alam tol yung schizophrenia eh. Would it cause you to be like that? Parang nagsabi ka ng homophobic slurs, may racist ka, nagkakos yan.
I mean, hindi siya direct cause, pero kasi if you have, kasi what I think about schizophrenia or what I know about it is like you have a constant phantom eh. Parang lagi kang may sumusunod sa'yo. And then if you are threatened by a constant entity, parang you'll act differently eh, di ba? Parang you'll say different things that you don't usually say, di ba? Parang may mga gagawin ka na hindi mo dapat ginagawa kasi laging may nakasunod sa'yo. That's how I think it is, kasi he's not initially he's not a bad person eh. I mean, how would you, I don't think that you would reach a good, career, parang Ticketmaster. I think that's a good namang company in the US. You have good scores in college, diba? I don't think that you would reach that part of your career na medyo sobrang racist mo. Siguro na-amplify. Siguro, before siya nagkaroon ng schizophrenia, parang hidden lang yung mga ganun. Parang more on personal opinions lang niya. Pero once he's gotten the illness, dun na yung parang mas open na siya. Na talagang, I mean, alam mo yung, full-grown N-word talaga yung sinasabi niya, homos and shit, CIA. Talagang, when I watch the documentary, I'll post a link na lang, if you want to. There's a more complete documentary for this, and it's just difficult to keep track kasi nga he died and then archived na yung mga ano niya. But ayun.
When did he die? Sorry.
Ano siya?
2018.
Yeah, 2018 siya. So it's
kailan lang.
Kailan lang siya. He started parang he started being famous about the Temple OS around 2008 ganyan. So it's an ongoing work for him. So ayun nga. So he descended into madness, may homophobic slurs, and then itong online community, they eventually learned that Terry has schizophrenia. So they basically medyo may mga sumusuporta na. Parang
may cult following for sure.
May
cult yung storya niya eh.
Tsaka they don't take it as so socially. I mean, for someone who speaks or who talks about the N-word too much, hindi siya sobrang hindi siya yung parang nako-crucify katulad ng ibang normal na tao. Parang they let it pass na parang, we know
ang binibigyan siya ng leeway dahil sa medical condition niya.
And then some part of the bullying pa, alam mo, this is one of the sad parts. It's just when he's streaming, or there is one stream or multiple streams na he was streaming siya, 'di ba? So, ito ginagawa ko. And then some people would call him kasi eventually they got their number. I don't know how. He probably posted it on the operating system kasi meron siya introduction, sobrang haba, yung address niya, email niya, phone number niya, nilagay niya. Ito free open source siya. So, basically mata-download mo. So, while he's streaming, tinatawagan siya ng mga nanonood sa kanya. Siguro mga 6 or 5 viewers lang siya naman. Then tinitrigger siya. Parang sasabihan siya na kung ano, and then you'll see Terry, parang matitrigger siya na, no, you're, parang aawayin niya yung sa phone. So parang ganun yung pangmubuli sa kanya na, it's sad na you know that this person has, schizophrenia. It's probably, this is the best way, I mean, creating this operating system is the best way for him to cope dun sa illness niya, and yet, papagtripan mo pa yung tao, di ba? Parang it's sad.
Lalong maano yun.
And yun, so ganyan, nangyari sa kanya yung bullying na gano'n, and eventually na-realize na may schizophrenia siya, and Unfortunately, it gets worse kasi I mentioned before he was living with his parents, 'di ba? And then
Mm.
apparently pag may schizophrenia ka, you have medicines. So if you
Ah,
don't take them, mas alam mo 'yun, mas mag-aano 'yan, maging
yung symptoms mo mas
oh,
malala
mas
ganun.
lala ka siya. So he always have arguments with his dad, with the
Hindi naman yung sinasaktan
hindi,
parents niya.
ayun nga eh. It came to a point that there's a physical, violence na,
Communication.
Oo.
which, he was jailed for a while. He was put into a mental institution over and over. This is just not the course of just 1 year. This is a course of almost like from 2008 or until he died na he's in and out of
Ah,
being homeless, being, on a mental hospital. So ayun nga, he
terminal ba ang schizophrenia, pre?
I don't know
Hindi.
eh.
Hindi naman.
I'm not sure. When you mention terminal ba, parang is that
Mamatay? Gano'n?
Parang
uh,
mamamatay ka, gano'n. Pag
Hindi.
nagkasakit ka,
no.
gano'n. Hindi naman.
The only
Or parang sakit lang talaga siya sa isip.
Oo, sa
Yeah.
isip lang sa'yo.
Technically, mamamatay ka towards the action that you do. Kasi, 'di ba, pag ikaw, you're not mentally well, 'di ba? Parang there are chances na you would harm yourself. So, pero yung schizophrenia alone, tingin ko there are schizophrenic people naman na buhay pa rin eh. They're living their life although they are limited to what they do. Yun nga, kailangan ng medicine. So hindi siya
Mm.
nakakamatay. Tama naman, Jen, no? Hindi talaga siya namamatay with schizophrenia alone. Siguro, so ayun. He was in and out. He was jailed. I'm not sure how he was jailed kasi ang hirap mo naman i-prosecute someone who has schizophrenia eh.
Oo.
Parang,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's still physical, ano. So, he was out, he was homeless. No, naging homeless siya, he still streams. Sabi niya, there is I don't know if there's a counterpart with this. Parang there's a nerd girl, parang siya Steve Irwin, pero girl type, na medyo around 20s to 30s. Parang, ano siya, more on scientific channel, celebrity siya. So, Terry loves this celebrity or loves this girl na yun nga, more on experiments or scientific experiments. There's a point na niloloko siya ng mga online trolls na they're pretending to be this girl. So basically, Terry believes that parang he was married to someone that he's not. So when he was homeless, pinapakita niya sa streams niya na nandito si Mrs. ganon. So which is he's not even married. So parang he's living his own family life by himself. Na parang which is really 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 weird. So ayun nga, he still continues to hello.
Ah.
Yeah, go. And he still continues to live life nung ganon. And then eventually ayun, he died in August 2011. The reason of his death is he got hit by a train. So
Okay.
it's
Oh.
ayun nga. I mean, first that time that it was posted, yung mga cult following niya, medyo nag-skeptical pa. Hindi, niloloko lang yan. Siguro may mga nakakuha ng ni Terry na nakuha yung credentials niya and then post ng sister. Kasi sister niya yung nag-post na Terry died, he got hit by a train. And then, yun nga, may mga conspiracy pa na hindi si Terry yan, ganon. So, there are people pa rin good Samaritan na who
Who checked on
offers
him?
parang that offers him money, offers him shelter, pero he's refusing eh. Parang you have a mental illness, so it's difficult for you to communicate with people na. So ayun, he died, he died in 2018. The engineer of the train na nakasagasa sa kanya told the news or an article na it's a suicide, hindi siya accidental. Parang kasing Terry is deteriorating kasi kung makikita mo yung history niya, he had a good job, he lived with his parents, he eventually become homeless, he lives in a van for a certain amount of time, and then nawawala siya sa loop sa mga postings niya, and then pagdating niya sa later ng life niya, wala na yung van niya, siya na lang. He's actually going to libraries per state. Doon siya, alam mo, doon niya napapractice yung coding niya. I mean, that's the most sane that he can get when he's trying to code. Because since may cult following na siya, may mga naghahanap sa kanya, yung mga nagpapicture sa kanya na let's talk about programming. And when he talks about programming, he talks about it like he's a normal person. Wala yung homophobic slurs, wala yung N-word. Talaga normal person siya. I think that's the part of his brain na hindi na corrupt ng when he talks about programming. Yun lang yung hindi talaga na-corrupt ng schizophrenia. And the rest of that is yun nga, it's unfortunately corrupted na. So ayun, a lot of people like him. I mean, his website is still up and running. It's a templeos.org. There's a link there if you want to donate for mental illness institutions, yung meron doon. And then the last part of Ted's video or posting is when he's kicked out of a library. Kasi he's homeless eh. He looks homeless. Haggard siya, itsura niya. And then, it's really sad to watch. I don't know if I can describe it properly. Pero, if you would look at his face, he's like, one of the lines that he said was, I think they just look at me as a one person running, parang walking around, parang ganon. Parang he's, I think in a little part of himself, he knows that he's crazy. And nare-realize niya pa rin yung pag-reject sa kanya ng tao. Parang he still needs help. Na parang, dude, I'm parang homeless lang ako. Hindi naman ako mararak ng tao, di ba? Gusto ko lang mag-code eh, di ba? Parang why would you kick me out in the library? Parang ganun. So it's sad na, but I think he's in peace naman na at the last part of his life, he's believing into something that's not, pero that's how I believe it. So yeah, for me, just a very interesting story. There's a lot of pa rin resources online, pero ayun nga, most of us naman tayo parang yung OS natin Windows, so I don't think makikita natin yung talagang gawa niya in first hand, pero it's still available if you're enthusiast naman for different programmings ganyan. Pwede mong yung matesting yung sa kanya. So ayun na yung episode ko ngayon. Medyo maiksi lang, pero this is close to heart kasi I don't know, IT, and then you're combining it with something, mental illness. Parang medyo I want to see, or I want to review how people, treat each other, lalo na pag online, 'di ba? Parang in the other end, you're talking about about these imperfections, pero on the other end, di mo pala alam, meron palang pinapagdaanan yung tao, di ba? So it's I hope that parang medyo came across na rin, parang let's be vigilant na rin, di ba? It's be careful. So ayun lang yung sa akin. So ayun, okay na ba, Jai, or Jai, do you have any additional comments ba sa kay Terry?
Actually, naisip ako andyan. Parang resemblance lang, yung Transcendence na movie. Baga parang si Johnny Depp, kinarate niya yung OS na parang makapag sa world, para makapag-better.
Makapag-isa siya dun sa
tapos yung mga activist na pinatay siya. Tapos yung consciousness niya, nilipat niya dun sa
sa buong mundo.
Tama ba? Sa OS niya.
Hindi ko pa rin napapanood yan.
Maganda yun.
Alam mo, wala pa rin nung nagpunta ako Japan, hindi na ako nanonood ng movies.
Okay lang yan. Nakapagbasa ka naman eh. So, yung ending nun, Jay, di ba parang na-transfer na yung sarili niya?
Yung consciousness. Parang siya yung naging God mismo.
Parang sa Lucy, no? Parang gano'n na So, ganda.
Parang may resemblance lang siya dun sa Temple OS.
Oh, so I mean, for me it's a sad story pero it's ano rin siya, medyo adventurous story din siya in a way na gagawa ako ng bagong OS, di ba? Parang it's just so happen na nagkaroon siya ng mental illness. So hindi niya natuloy. Sayang, di ba? It could be a different, it could be a new operating system altogether. Siguro hindi Windows, siguro Linux yan or kung ano man yan. So ayun. Thank you Jai and Jay for listening, and all of the other listeners, salamat. Available to sa Spotify, and then
Spotify.
sa Facebook din, eventually YouTube. We're still working
YouTube,
on
yes.
YouTube kasi high definition dapat mataas. Thank you. Have a nice evening everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.